I'm a 28-year-old woman and my brother 30 is getting married soon. At first, we were supportive of his fiancée, Sarah, but her true colors have come out since they started dating. She's manipulative and often belittles my brother in front of us. It's clear she doesn't want him to have close relationships with his family, especially with me. Last year, we had a family gathering where things escalated. During dinner, Sarah commented about my job, saying it was a waste of potential. I calmly confronted her, and instead of apologizing, she doubled down, claiming I was just too sensitive and that I should be grateful she's helping my brother rise above his mediocre life. It was tense, and my brother sat there without saying anything, which hurt me even more. After that, I decided to distance myself from her and told my brother I couldn't be around someone who clearly disrespects him and our family. Fast forward to now, my brother is planning his wedding and asked me to be a bridesmaid. I was shocked but flattered. Yeah, I clarified that I would only participate if Sarah treated everyone with respect. He assured me to be on our best behavior, but I wasn't convinced. A few days later, I received a text from Sarah telling me to stop being so dramatic and that she would appreciate it. I'd just be happy for them. I responded honestly, saying I couldn't pretend to be happy about their relationship when I felt uncomfortable around her. I told her I wouldn't attend the wedding if she was involved with dictating my role, that my brother wanted me there as a bridesmaid, and that I would not let her ruin that for him. Now, my brother is angry with me. He says I'm making a huge mistake by choosing a petty feud over family, claiming I'm being selfish. Our parents are divided. Some agree with me, while others think I should just suck it up for the sake of family harmony. So am I the idiot for refusing to attend my brother's wedding because of his fiancée's toxic behavior? Should I just put a brave face and deal with it for my brother, or am I justified in standing my ground? What do you mean you wouldn't attend the wedding if she was involved? It would be her wedding. How could bride not be involved? You are not the idiot for refusing to attend the wedding if you feel uncomfortable with how Sarah treated you and your brother. However, seriously, what are you talking about? Imagine telling a bride you want to attend the wedding if she's involved. It's like Op has forgotten what happens at weddings. Everyone's the idiot here. Sure, Sarah sounds rude and conceited, but I'm getting similar vibes from you, to be honest. Who are you to be telling a bride she can't be involved when it's her wedding? You are delusional about your role, and you overestimate your importance. She decides who the bridesmaids are, not you. I agree. Everyone's the idiot here. Sarah sounds toxic, and I can't blame Op. I hope brother comes to his senses before he marries her. Look, Sarah definitely sounds horrible, but once you tell the bride you won't be there if she is, it's game over. You will no longer be welcome at the wedding if it were me. So, no, you should not attend because you made your stance perfectly clear, and your presence will only create tension. You won't be happy you're there, and you don't seem like you have a good poker face about things. Either way, you're gonna ruin the event for your brother. If you don't go, he'll be upset, but I doubt he'll be thrilled if you're there and angry. I, 28, had been with my fiancé, Alex, 34, for 4 years. We met at a friend's party, hit it off, and have had been together ever since. He finished his doctorate in economics just last year. Since then, he's been working at the university. I have my master's in media sciences and decided to start working instead of going for a PhD. Okay. The problem is that Alex broke up with me last Monday. It was literally so surreal and, honestly, just weird. For the past few months, he's been acting strange. He was making demands and then dropping them immediately. A few examples: he told me we would paint our walls back from dark green to white. When I asked why, he just said, "For goodness sake, forget it," and never brought it up again even when I asked. Another time, he came home and got angry because I was sitting on the couch with my head covered in a blanket. I had cramps. He was upset because I was just sitting there watching Netflix. Mind you, the house was spotless. When I tried to talk about it, he said, "Forget it. It's not a big deal." This kind of thing became common. Every time I tried to communicate, tried to figure out what was going on, whether it was something I did or maybe he was just stressed at work, he would say everything was fine, but he was clearly seething with rage. I didn't have to do anything. He would find something to complain about. The apartment, clothes, me, work, etc. so I gave him space, which apparently was also wrong. I told him I would help my parents with repairs for a few days, and somehow, that was also wrong because he wanted to renovate the apartment too. Then, on Monday, I got a text saying we needed to talk. I knew what was coming, and after the last few months, I'd made peace with it. When I came home, he was sitting on the couch. He didn't even wait for me to remove my jacket before saying, "I wanna break up." Then, the verbal diarrhea started. He told me he resented me. First because I didn't pursue my academic career further even though I was capable, and he didn't want to upset me at the time. Then, when I started making more money since he didn't make much as a PhD student, he felt like I should have the last word financially and he hated it. I never said anything like it's my money, so I have the final say. That's a rule he imposed on himself and he hated it. He said he hated our paint scheme, the couch, and even our crock pot. Then, he told me he had rejected a better PhD program to stay here because I'd already started my job when he got the acceptance letters, only he never told me even applied overseas. I said a few months ago, he checked in with a friend in that program, saw how they were thriving, and decided I had ruined his life. He said I had too much control over his life and that he hated the idea that I could decide not to pay for things and mess him over. I honestly don't even know what that means. He also said he hated that all his friends loved me and didn't let him vent about me. Then he said again, "I'm done." I was floored. I'd already made peace with the idea that we were ending, and it hurt, but after that ran, I was just disgusted. I looked at him, probably with a disgusted expression, and said, "Okay." He lost it. He said this is exactly what he meant, that it was horrible. We've been together for 4 years, and all I had to say was okay to our breakup. I just asked if he wanted to stay here while he figured out where to go. He said, "Typical, of course, you're holding the apartment over me," and started ranting again, so I just left. I told my parents, and they were also confused. My dad suggested I contact our landlord and explain the situation to see my options. I can keep paying the rent easily myself. He covered the utilities and some subscriptions. Just to reiterate, I never had a problem with this. I saw that he was chasing his dream, and that was more important to me than a 5,050 financial split. I make good money and I'm happy at my job. I never saw it as slaving away. I also believe that my money was our money, because we were building a life together. Of course, I had savings and fun money, but I never cared. I was fine with it as long as I felt he was working towards something and wasn't taking advantage of me. More than fine. Alex is still angry. He's going between texting me like a robot about the logistics of the split to being a seething idiot, me like a robot about the logistics of the split to being a seething idiot complaining about everything. I'm not even hurt anymore. I feel nauseated by him at this point. I don't know. Should I have reacted differently? Not the idiot. The dude basically said he hates you and everything about you. What are you supposed to do? Beg for his love when you can find someone who will give it to you readily? No. Sorry this happened and that you were blindsided, but this will be a good thing in the long run. On to the next. For what it's worth, he sounds jealous, insecure, and emotionally stunted. If what you've written is how things played out, then you dodged a huge bullet. A bit of backstory. My hubby and I have been together for 4 years and married for 1.5. His mother has never liked me, and she can't explain why even after I asked her. The smallest thing will set her off, like when I was pregnant and the food she made triggered some nausea. She almost went crazy. We've been living with them for about a year now, and it's been a nightmare a year so far. In the past, she's made house rules to suit her, and when we played along with the rules, she would get upset. My father-in-law works overseas, and he comes home every few weeks. She doesn't clean the house before he comes home, and I mean their living area and their bedroom. When he's here, she doesn't wash his clothes or hang them. We had a rule in the house, her idea that 3 times a week she makes food, and then the rest of the week it's me, and when you make food, you have to clean the kitchen. During the 3 days she makes food, she leaves the dishes in the sink until the morning of my day, or she asks my husband to clean the dishes before I start cooking. After a while, she stopped doing the dishes on her nights, and my hubby and I had to clean the kitchen daily. I talked to her about it because she asked us to clean before her days began, and we agreed to keep to the house rule. Father-in-law's last rotation came around and he's home for good. They don't really talk to each other or even eat dinner together. On a grocery run I made with her, she told me that father-in-law is very unhappy with her because the house is always messy and she doesn't do his laundry, but she told him that she will not be his cleaner and he can do it himself. The newest thing in the final straw for me was when she started a diet recently and decided she would only be making food for herself and I needed to make food for the rest of the house. She'll only be cleaning her own dishes, but she never does. She would leave her dishes in the sink until my hubby washed them, or she would pick out her things from the full sink and wash them. I decided that I would start doing the same as I'm not the wife of this house. I started only cleaning my things and hubby's things, and I could see it really bothered her. Then she started leaving all her dishes on the drying rack for days until I asked her to pack them away. During the day, I would be the one that offers to make my father-in-law a cup of coffee or something to eat as she just makes for herself. A few nights ago, she complained about something my father-in-law did, and I guess I just snapped. I told her that she was a bad housewife because her job was to take care of her husband, and she refused to do that. Everything and everyone was silent for a few minutes, and she just left the kitchen. So am I the idiot? Edit, we CO own the land and the house. It's not my idea to live with her, but I can't change that now. I think she should get a job to pay for her own things. Why should she live off her father-in-law's paycheck, but she can't make him a sandwich while she's making one for her? Yikes! Is your father-in-law not able to take care of himself? If not, why would it be your mother-in-law's responsibility? Father-in-law is a grown man. He can care for himself. Stop putting your father-in-law in the middle of your fights. This is not your issue here, yet you make it about him. You are the idiot. If you don't like how she runs her house, move out. This is a crazy take to me. Father-in-law is working and mother-in-law isn't. She should be doing more than cooking for only herself and not cleaning. If their arrangement is literally, I make money and pay all expenses, you take care of the house and don't have to seek employment, then it's absolutely her job. You shouldn't agree to become a stay-at-home wife if you don't want to be a housewife. Father-in-law has every reason to be irritated by the state of the relationship and the fact she doesn't contribute to the home. People with the financial ability to live a traditional relationship choose to do so all the time. They often are happier that way than the modern way. It's their choice and there is objectively nothing wrong with living that way. Also, hope he CO owns the house with the in-laws. Terrible arrangement, but she has every right to be there. I disagree. You can sell the house and land back to them and move out. That was a stupid decision, but it's not irreversible. Jesus, op. Your self-righteous superiority is palpable. Just cut the crap. Why don't you? You don't like your mother-in-law. You think she doesn't work as hard as you, and you called her out in front of your father-in-law to prove what a good, dedicated little wifey you are. Sell your half and move out. Why spend so much time and energy trying to make each other miserable? It's gross, and your misogyny is so obvious. You are the idiot. So here's the deal. I, 28 female, I'm getting married next month, and I'm super excited. I've been planning the stay for what feels like forever. My fiancé and I have chosen a beautiful venue, dressed up the decorations, and, yes, we've ordered a stunning 3-tier chocolate cake, which will be the centerpiece of the reception. Now, my younger brother, 24, is a radical vegan. He's always been over the top about his dietary choices, which is fine, but recently, he started condemning anyone who eats animal products. He even goes around preaching about how sugar is just as bad and calling traditional recipes murderous. Last week, he called me on the phone and freaked out about the cake, saying it would be a disgrace to celebrate a love that advocates for the oppression of animals. I was totally taken aback. After a few days of deliberation, I decided to uninvite him from my wedding. I told him I wouldn't tolerate any negativity or judgment on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I want to eat my cake in peace. My parents are furious and saying I'm being unreasonable, but, honestly, I feel like he crossed the line. It's my wedding day. Am I the idiot for protecting my celebration from his views? He's just complaining all the time, and no, he's not gonna fun day special cake since I ordered a murder cake. Not the idiot, but I don't get what he was expecting. It's a wedding. There will be a cake or some kind of dessert, and being vegan and sugar-free would be a monstrous expense. Plus, it would taste terrible or be very hard to find a baker who could do it well, and they can charge whatever they want to at that point because it's such a specialized need. You can spin this to make it sound like you're keeping the peace in the family. Tell your parents you are trying to do the right thing for your brother. You realized how thoughtless it was to invite him to an event where he would be subjected to seeing a murder cake, so you withdrew the information out of respect for his beliefs. After all, you would never want to cause friction in the family by putting him in such position. Hilarious. Please do it. This is called screw around and find out. He is perfectly free to arrange a vegan wedding when his turn comes, but he has no right to disrespect other people's dietary choices. Usually, when vegans tell me I eat corpses, I answer that I prefer that to eating animals live. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding.